Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the New School Podcast, where we live by one motto, and that's out with the old, in with the new. This show is brought to you by CuriosityLab.AI, and we are joined today once again by the founder of CuriosityLab.AI and our official co-host here on the show, Boon Chu, coming to us live from Tribeca, New York City. Boon, how are you on this lovely afternoon?
Very good. Lots of exciting stuff every day.
Yeah. Well, I was just chatting with you before we hopped on here. I don't know if what you were sharing with me about the CPA thing was necessarily for CuriosityLab.AI, but either way, it's an exciting piece of information that can still be replicated and implemented within the school. So is that cool? Can we start with that?
Yes, 100%. So I recently spoke to a person, and he is a doorman in a building. So I got curious and asked him, and found out that he actually has a accounting degree. So it's like, well, you have an accounting degree. What are you doing here? At the reception desk. So he told me about CPA exam that they do. Like, it's really hard to pass. And he failed it. He's looking to pass that so he can become a CPA. And just so that people know, CPA, I don't know what it stands for. It's essentially a certified, I think it's certified public accountant, something like that. So it turns out that the exam is super hard to pass. And so there are a couple of different really popular systems out there that people purchase to, like, exam prep system that people use to prepare for a CPA. Similar things happen, I think, in bar exam and things like that too. So as I dug deeper and deeper into it, it's a nice system. Like the exam prep system is quite nice. They have multiple choices. They have simulations that you can do on various accounting scenario that you have to solve. But the exam, again, the passing rate is super low. Like maybe 50% of people pass the exams. And so as we looked into it, one of the pain points I realized was that whenever you answer a question incorrectly, in order for you to get like deeper into it, it's hard. Like if you ask the exam prep system, one of the companies, a question, it takes weeks to get a response back. But I think that interrupts the flow. I mean, if you are in the middle of understanding, trying to learn something, do a test, and then you fail at it. I mean, this could be for anybody, right? It doesn't have to be for CPA. It could literally be for school as well. If I'm doing some sort of assessment, maybe even say, for example, like, any the online assessment tool that you use, but you want to dig deeper into it, how would you do that? So some of these things out there, they're still not catching up yet to the AI trend. So I thought, hey, maybe I should do something about it. I have my team, Tapala, which is my venture studio, prototype a Chrome extension that plugs into the exam prep system that the accountant person was using to test and see if I can basically do sort of like integrate AI into it right away without having to rebuild the entire system. And I just looked at the prototype today. It works wonder. The AI can see what's presented on the website and explain the multiple choices, and then explain which answer is correct, which one is incorrect, why they're incorrect. And then you can also ask a question if you want to. That literally creates that entire feedback loop, if you will, in the learning experience.
Yeah, super exciting. And to your point, that could be applied to the bar exam, MCATs, even the GRE. I hope we find a way at CuriosityLab.AI to break down the barrier that a lot of these exams hold, because at the end of the day, it's like, from my understanding, from my experience, and even with I'll even use like a real estate license exam, which I have passed, and obviously it's not quite as hard to study for as some of what you referenced. It's like you take that exam, and then most likely you don't use 95% of it for the rest of your time in that industry. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. So I always want to see, like, how can we just make these exams also irrelevant through what we're teaching, and have kids come through CuriosityLab.AI that are just as skilled as someone who's been working at Ernst & Young for 5 years, right? Like, passing a test isn't necessarily the answer for that.
Yeah. I think part of the problems right now with education is a lot of stuff is not practical or contextual. Right, you're learning a piece of knowledge, but you don't know what it is for. And so an exam itself is crafted by someone who doesn't really have, experience. I mean, first of all, the question itself is generic. I mean, it's the same question being asked to everybody. So it's not tuned to the person per se. But if I turn it around, instead of the exam, sort of the person being unique and the exam being generic, what if I can make the exam also unique as well? So if I know you're very into tennis, and I'm asking a question on math, right, but regarding to physics, and then I can tie tennis into it. So then as I ask you a question, AI can actually generate that question that you would find interesting because you are doing, you're interested in that subject. And you can see the practical, right, the practical application of that knowledge. for that. I think on the fly, or it doesn't even have to be on the fly, but the fact that I know I can personalize not just the learning experience, but the actual assessment experience to the learners themselves. I think that would be a game changer, because now I can ask you questions that you would find interesting. And now you can see, oh, I'm learning physics, and I can see how it's interesting for me to figure out, how fast I should hit my ball and stuff like that. Or, like how far it would travel based on the angle and all that, the speed and all that. You can see the practical application of the knowledge that you're learning. You obviously get more motivation to learn it as a result.
And it's actually not even hitting me until just now, but looking at literally the website, the domain, CuriosityLab.AI. Did you know as the founder from the beginning that this was most likely going to be a platform that you built using AI?
I know that it's going to be, I want to have AI. Like, I know that human plus AI is going to be the formidable opponent, if you will. I think anyone right now relying on just one component of the two is not going to survive. I mean, you cannot, rely on AI alone, meaning you're cheating with just, using AI for homework and stuff like that. You don't use human intervention or human interaction. Same thing if you just rely on human. So combining the two is the most potent combination. And so right from the get-go, I know that AI has to play a pretty big role in terms of shaping things. And the beauty is that because AI is changing and all the time, for me, like my belief is that whatever school it is that we're trying to do, it should not be dogmatic. It should not be that once we've discovered a way of doing something that we stuck to that. We needed to constantly evolve. We need to constantly rethink the way we do things. This kind of framework is currently not even in the schools that are very progressive or very new now. Like, people would experiment with something and just kind of stuck in that same, that way. And that new way now, after some time becomes the old way. And then that old way, the part of the problem of that old way is the fact that it never gets it never gets the improvement that it needs to get.
How do you see this type of learning? Because the Chrome extension idea with the CPA exam is more so an idea I think that you were looking at implementing in another facet of your business life. Similar things can be implemented within CuriosityLab.AI. So where do you see the first couple projects of something similar happening within the school?
Part of running Curiosity Lab, aside from the in-person interaction, which is great, which aside from the practical sort of quest that we have that allows them to do a lot of the adult stuff like publishing books and creating films and songs and stuff like that, we are also focusing on what kind of technology we can build to enhance the entire education experience. Assessment is a key thing. Technically, you cannot get away from assessment because you have to test yourself to really understand if you are gaining mastery. And so the way things are done right now in this assessment space is incorrect, because there's a passing score. If you get 60%, then you pass and you go to the next topic or next level, which is wrong. Technically, you should be mastering things, like hopefully close to 100% and ideally 100% before you move to the next topic. So there's no gaps in your knowledge. The way we see right now is really looking at all these aspects and say, this part right here can really be enhanced using AI and be delivered really at the end of the day to scale things to be a more personalized type of learning. You have to use AI for that, because it's not a viable thing to be doing one-on-one with everybody, right? In order to reach a lot of people, you either have to have one teacher per student, to have the maximum sort of effect, or you use AI to scale that. We have an ed tech to the school, which is also unique to a Curiosity Lab. And most schools don't have this, right? They don't have a full-time tech team that can enable technology, that can really create technology platforms and tools for the education experience. So that's one of the major things that we have with Curiosity Lab.
Yeah, and I like what you said earlier too, which is the combination of human plus AI. I think that's a phrase, at least in the world that I live in, that I don't hear too often. I know you're a lot deeper into tech, so maybe people say human plus AI more frequently, but I just think it's an important way to phrase both sides of the picture here, because there's all this stuff in the news about, oh, AI is taking over. No one's going to have a job because of AI. And I just find that to be what many would call fake news, because AI is only good when you have that human spirit into it, right?
For the fact that because human themselves, our knowledge is we don't have 100% correct knowledge about everything, right? And because we are feeding that as well into the AI, AI is learning from us, and we are not 100% correct. So then AI cannot be 100% correct. Not to mention that the learning process itself is not a completely perfect process. So there's bound to be inaccuracies from human and from AI. So in order to minimize that inaccuracies is that you have to have that cross-checking assessment going on between the two, AI and human. I think there should be a term. Someone should come up with a term to describe human plus AI. I know right now we have human and we have AGI or AI to describe the AI side of things. but there should be one thing, a mode, that is like, this is what it is. Our offering is, AI plus human. Come up with something to say that's human plus AI in our execution.
We could take a stab at being the ones who coined the term here. I'm sure whoever even coined the term,
Yeah.
coined the term internet or AI, I don't think they're being paid dividends for people using the word that they came up with first. But there we go. Everyone, hey, in the comments, if you're tuned in right now, wherever you're tuned in, wherever you're listening, let us know. What should we call it? Human plus AI. Should we just call it that? Well, I know we talked about Kidpreneur on the last episode. What are you looking forward to the most about the next session?
That's a good question you asked there. But if you look at most entrepreneurial programs, if anyone is offering any, they tend to replicate that. It's the same script. Oh, I do Lemonade this week. Next week I do Lemonade. Why? Because they're trying to maximize profit. So they also they have to scale. So they use the same teacher, same script, and they run the same thing. But with us, it's different. We're not looking for maximum scalability here. We're looking for maximum impact. So next week, for example, are we going to do Lemonade? Maybe. But we look at what the kids are doing this week or the week prior to the Kidpreneur course next week. Well, we know that some of the kids are doing some cooking classes this week from talking to their mom and all that. Well, then we ask them, what did they make in the cooking classes? Well, it turned out that one of the things they made yesterday was watermelon juice with some mint and, pepper or whatever mixed into it, right? Okay, then we can actually take that and introduce that as an additional product SKU for next week's lemonade stand. So now, if you think about it, not only are we doing lemonade, maybe we don't do lemonade, maybe we do, but we're also adding one more product into the offering that is tied to the existing thing that they're doing right now, which is the cooking class they're doing this week. So we see how that things are kind of getting intertwined now into the thing. So that's why it's very personalized, because we're looking at what they're doing prior and then see how we can connect them so they can actually see connections between all the different things they're doing. So that's what we'll be doing next week. Other things we have to innovate next week. We'll look at all the key concepts in the business world, whether it be franchise, whether it be M&A and all those things, and teach them to the young kids, but in a gamified way. So I already have like blank cards from Amazon where you can put turn them to like cards that you can, like poker cards you can play. And then we'll put like key terms like that in the poker cards and start designing and create a new game. Now, the beauty of this is that we might not know sort of what game that should look like, the rules of the game, but AI can come in now. I said, hey, AI, I want to teach kids all these business concepts. I have a deck of cards, 52 cards. What terms should I put in there? How should I structure the game? Then AI can come up with some ideas. And then we can, work with AI to fine tune the idea. Then you have a brand new game. If it works out well, the kids love it, we can now even sell the game on Amazon as well. What we realize from all these things is that things are accelerating so fast, not just from the AI world or development world, but from the entire learning experience and all the daily activities. Everything, not only the nature of things are changing, the speed of which we do things are changing as well. It's accelerating as well. I think the conventional route of doing grade 1, grade 2, it's a suicidal mission. It's basically intentionally throttling ourselves down in terms of how fast we can move. And there's no other option. People have to move to this human plus AI approach.
Every time I meet with you, I feel like my life speeds up in a positive way, right? It's just as far as getting more done with a smaller amount of time. I was debating even sharing this, but I think it's appropriate now too. I've written and published my first two books with the help of AI. And I don't remember if I don't think we shared it on the call last time. We did, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Having two kids will do to you. You can't remember what you said to
Yeah.
But did I share that with you? Did you know that I wrote some books?
You shared it with me, but you should share it with the audience. I think it's an amazing thing you did there.
I would love to. And full disclaimer to everyone listening, like I really did write the majority of these books. I'd say 95% of both with using AI. And what's cool is, you can do it for free now with the power of Amazon and the way they have things set up. And Amazon asks you like, hey, did you use AI and how much AI did you use? So we're not going to beat around the bush here. I used AI, but it was human plus AI, right? Like there were some ideas that I had that I wanted to formulate and turn into books. And so it's super cool experience. I think very replicatable. If I wanted to, block out 12 hours, I could probably get about at least 3 to 4 books done in 12 hours now that there's a system and a process to it. So, and we did talk about that because I think you were saying that maybe I should, or we were saying I'll do a podcasting course at the school, but maybe a book publishing one. It's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of boring, but it is cool to know how to do it. So there you go.
Yeah, I love that because I think what you did there was, it's a novel approach as well, right? You take a I think the title was something rework, which is great. You take an existing literature and then you rework it. And for me, I think kids can actually do that. They can take an adult book, say a good book like Atomic Habits, and then they can say, how can I drill it down to something that a 7-year-old can sort of learn and also sort of, have actionable steps on. Take that, use AI, use themselves, kind of work it to a point where this is Atomic Habits for kids, right? And then publish that.
One thing that'd be really cool is the homework is have all the kids go home and ask their parents what is their favorite book, but don't tell them why. And then they bring it to class,
right.
They rework it and say, Mom, I just reworked your favorite book. What? It's on Amazon, go buy it.
100%. I think the rework part is beautiful because it's not just taking something and not even look at it and just rework it. As you rework, you kind of have to almost consume the food, digest it, and then spit out something brand new. So that reworking is actually a way for them to learn and to teach. So I'm learning something, I'm teaching it. So now you get the coaching effect, where because you have to teach someone that's something that you just learned, you end up mastering that. And it's a project that has a timeline, right? I need to publish a book on this subject, on a book that someone has written that is really, really good, but for adults. Now I need to drill it down to for kids. I think this is a great idea. I think we should, I think for the next semester when we launch the, storybook thing, I might launch one like that, where it's like adult books. I mean, I'll give a new title, but something basically use the idea of taking adult books and drill it down to a kids version. And then basically all the kids in that quest will just be focusing on creating kids version of great adult books out there.
Yeah. You just got to make sure you get the paid version of ChatGPT or whatever AI you're using.
Yeah. Well, that too, but I need to touch on this, but we can touch on this next time as well. There's already different AI systems out there that are touting that they're better than ChatGPT, for example. I mean, what we're going to see in the competition is, it's kind of like a race. Sometimes I'm ahead, sometimes I'm behind. No one is talking about using them to collaborate. What I mean by that is chaining them up. I can take one system, take the output of that, feed it into the next system.
Wow.
And then have that verify or improve upon that. So if you go through that, it's almost like instead of you picking one out of the three, leading AI things that are out there, really just use them collaboratively, order them in however way you want, and just look and see if you send them and send the input down the pipeline, what do you end up getting? So it's not just relying on one. Now they can even fact check each other. So the chance of it giving you the wrong answer will be less now because you actually have multiple AI verifying answers from the previous one.
Wow. That, again, every time we do a show, I learn something new that I'm going to implement just in my daily business life like that. Because I didn't want to share it yet because I'm still feeling it out. But to be honest, what you're saying, I think Claude.AI is giving ChatGPT a serious run for its money right now. Claude's been very smooth since I started using it. But I haven't, for whatever reason, I haven't thought of going back and forth between the two to just, do exactly what you just said. So there we go.
Check them out and see. Maybe we get the best of both worlds, or have them at least cross-check each other.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, we're going to bring this one down for a landing. Number one call to action to our audience today, Boon. What is it? I guess go to CuriosityLab.AI. Anything else that you'd like our audience to draw their attention?
CuriosityLab.AI. Reach out to me. Text me 917-724-4968. Just don't make your text message look like a spam message, and I'll respond to you. And really just start a conversation with someone that is, ahead, maybe a step or two ahead of you, and see how they're using AI. Right now, I think every kid, if they can devote even just half an hour a day just learning about AI tools, they'll be way ahead of their peers. It doesn't matter what age they're at. If they just use it in a meaningful way, they're going to be way ahead. Even adults, everyone should devote some time on AI because it's going to be such a key component of their life, whether they like it or not.
Love it. All right, guys. Well, you know the drill. Like Boon said, CuriosityLab.AI. Check us out, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the like button. And thank you for tuning into another episode of the New School Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Carswell. We're joined by Boon Chu, our co-host and founder of CuriosityLab.AI. We'll catch you in the next episode. Remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.